So I'm Louis Henderson. I'm a filmmaker and a
My name
writer.
is Carolina Caycedo,
And I'm actually from the United
visual
Kingdom.
artist from Colombia, living in
We are
Los
an artist duo from Bogota, Colombia, and we have been working together as a collective for the last 7 years.
I was born in Madagascar.
I think you're right to say that, like, when we name things like the Anthropocene, or we name globalization, or we talk about, capitalism, I think it's quite important to be clear about what those terms actually constitute. The Anthropocene, in terms of, mankind's effect on the planet, we have to understand like which type of person that's actually talking about.
Environmental justice is an individual responsibility. I think it's a collective responsibility, a community responsibility, right? I don't see myself as an individual championing for these, but in relation to speaking with, speaking besides, supporting, immediately behind those in the front lines of environmental justice. And I think there's also a heavy corporate responsibility and governmental responsibility. And I think it's both corporations and governments have the bigger guilt and are committing the biggest crimes in terms of environmental injustice. And they need to be held accountable more than, us as individuals undertaking and carrying this weight alone.
The impact of the environment is more tough in the southern part of the planet than in the north. And nowadays, for example, there are population in entire villages that are dying from hunger because it doesn't rain anymore, etc., etc. So, in some way, I would say that this is the impact, of the exploitation of the natural resources. But depending on your point of view, this exploitation is the result of, this arrogant attitude from the industries.
We believe it is important to approach this problem in a different way. Maybe to reflect, for example, on the interrelationship and mutual influence of humans and the planet. To think of it in a reciprocal and two-way process. For example, that not only we as humans have geomorphic effects on the planet, but also to recognize how we ourselves are being permanently transformed and affected by the earth. We human become geology and the rock becomes humanized.
Inequality. I think inequality has to be looked at also with the prism of, non-human epistemologies. If we're speaking about environment, we have to take into account the non-human epistemologies too. So what are the inequalities? Also, not only among humanity and different parts of society and different communities within what we call humanity, but also the inequality between the different living and non-living entities that coexist in this planet.
For me, globalization is not necessarily something that is negative. This ability for living persons to walk and meet others is the significance of life. This is life.
think like trying to change the conversation around, global heating, to try and think more about what it means to speak about this from the position of privileged, of living in the overdeveloped world, to try and reconsider how we actually think about our role and our position within this particularly catastrophic moment that we're living in, and to also try and understand that there's a whole other series of perspectives that we just don't really know about, but that are extremely important to take into consideration. And and then what that means exactly is to bring that back to this question of understanding which humans we're speaking about when we talk about something like the Anthropocene.
We would rather say that it is a problem of ontological superiority at all levels. Let's say the human exceptionalism and the ways in which the world is socially divided. All the hierarchies created to justify economic systems, all the different forms of exploitation are based on ontological superiority, and this is what needs to be changed. We would like to trigger questions like, what is worth more, gold or water, trees or spirits?